Origins of the English language. The English word language derives ultimately from Proto-Indo-European, tongue, speech, and thought, which are Latin words. The origins of the language started with the arrival of three Germanic tribes who invaded Britain during the 5th century AD. These tribes, the Angles, the Saxons, and the Jutes, who crossed the North Sea from what today is Denmark and northern Germany. At that time, the inhabitants of Britain spoke a Celtic language, but most of the Celtic speakers were sent west and north by the invaders, mainly into what is now Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. The Angles came from England. England is how they pronounce it. That's Englaland. And their language was called English, which is Englisc, from which the words England and English were derived. Old English, which was 450 to 1100 AD. The invading Germanic tribes spoke similar languages, which in Britain developed into what we now call Old English. Old English did not sound or look like English today. Native English speakers would now have great difficulty understanding Old English. Nevertheless, about half of the most commonly used words in modern English have Old English roots. Then you get into the era of Middle English, which is 1100 to 1500 AD. In 1066, William the Conqueror, the Duke of Normandy, invaded and conquered England. This song in the background is called William the Conqueror by Billy Pierce, which I think is really apropos for this video. The new conquerors, called the Normans, that was the Norman invasion, brought with them a kind of French, which became the language of the royal court and the ruling and business classes. For a period, there was a kind of linguistic class division, where the lower classes spoke English and the upper classes spoke French. In the 14th century, English became dominant again in Britain, but with many French words added. This language is called Middle English. It would be difficult for native English speakers to understand today. Then you get into early modern English, which is 1500 to 1800. Towards the end of Middle English, a sudden and distinct change in pronunciation, which was called the Great Vowel Shift, started with vowels being pronounced shorter and shorter. From the 16th century, the British had contact with many peoples from around the world. This and the renaissance of classical learning meant that many new words and phrases entered the language. The invention of printing also meant that there was now a common language in print. Books became cheaper, and more people learned to read. Printing also brought standardization to English. Spelling and grammar, fixed in the dialect of London, where most publishing houses were, became the standard. In 1604, the first English dictionary was published. Then you get into the later modern English, 1800 to the present day. The main difference between early modern English and late modern English is vocabulary. Late modern English has many more words, arising from two principal factors. First, the Industrial Revolution. And technology created a need for new words. Secondly, the British Empire, at its height, covered 1/4 of the Earth's surface, and the English language adopted foreign words from many countries. From around 1600, The English colonization of North America resulted in the creation of a distinct American variety of English. Today, American English is particularly influential due to the USA's dominance of cinema, television, music, and technology, most notably the internet. The United States is the cultural capital of the world. Our entertainment is exported all around the world. But there are many other varieties of English around the world, including Australian English, New Zealand English, Canadian English, and Caribbean English. What is very interesting is how the English language is very hybrid. It is a mixture of the Anglos, the Saxons, the Jutes, the Celtics, the French, and many other languages as a whole. It's the same with cultures. That culture of the British was exported to the American colonies, which is now exported around the world. Thank you for listening to Origins of the English Language.